What's up, guys? Welcome back to JMac Creations. I'm JR, and today we're going to redesign Finn and Jake from Adventure Time. We're going to give a more realistic look to it and see how it comes out. Alright, guys, instead of doing my thumbnail sketches like I did previously with the link, I actually looked up online for reference of different poses, and I ended up landing on some of the old Conan the Barbarian novels and like comic books, and they were just it's really muscular poses. They're really dynamic, and I just ended up landing on this one that I'm using here. But with this one, I wanted to do more, not of a complete redesign, like doing my own thing. I wanted to take elements of Finn and kind of do like my own spin on it, while like keeping true to the actual character and everything like that. So as you'll see, I'll keep the white hat that he has on, but I made it like he's actually went out hunting and killed like a polar bear type animal, and draped the skin as like a trophy over top of him. But here I am doing the musculature and everything like that, trying to get the muscle tone right. But I did have a really fun time doing this one. I'm a fan of the show, and I always wanted to put my own spin on Finn and Jake. And that's when my camera attacked me. It fell off the stand. And there we go, back on track. Just like with the redesign of Link, I wanted him to have that type of pose that's like he's ready for battle. That's why I loved the Conan design that I ended up going with for reference. Almost done with the musculature, and there I am starting to sketch the actual ground underneath, which I made look kind of like a broken up like rock, almost like desert like. Here I am starting to sketch out Jake, his head right here. I wanted to have him more like in an attack pose, just like an attack pose, or like he's standing over like his kill, like victorious, and just ready for what comes next. And I wanted to have him like having this really like angry face, like he's snarling. He's also like he's bent forward, kind of like he's gonna pounce. But like I said, it's more like he's standing over his recent kill, which you'll see in a little second. I end up adding like a little skull underneath his right foot, which I really happen to like. Ended up drawing the wrong type of tail, as Jake's being he's a bulldog. He has like the short like nub tail, and I ended up drawing kind of like a tail for a collie for some odd reason. But this is what I was talking about before, his kind of sort of like a headdress, like a Native American, like he has the animal pelt draped over his head. which I really like that design aspect. And I wanted to make his traditional blue shirt torn up, like he's been through a lot, kind of like the Link and everything like that. Like he had like the battle scars and the torn up like fabric underneath the fur. And like I said before, I wanted to stay true to the character, but I wanted to do my own spin on it. So I'm keeping the overall like same attire, but just like ripping it up and making it more realistic. Like I ended up making those the little like bindings around his thigh right there, but I ended up not keeping them. I ended up taking those off in the inking process. I know I've said this before. I just really like the poses that I did for each one. They just came out really good, in my opinion. That's why I always love like redesigning my characters. It's one of my not my characters, but redesigning like characters in general that I enjoy. Just putting your own spin on it and seeing how they'll come out. This is another piece that I added on that Jake doesn't have in the show, but that Finn doesn't have in the show. Sorry, but little like kind of like a fairy or like a demon skull that's on his shoulder as like a shoulder piece. Thought that was a good little addition. Very simple, but I thought it was a good addition to it. Then, like I said, it's like a desert, like rocky background that they're standing on. I was originally going to go with pupils for Jake, but I ended up going against that because I thought he looked more like fierce with just the white pupils. Ended up changing the shape of the nose too, because I thought it was a little too wide and he looked more pig-like. The other little piece that I liked was I added BMO in his little hand. I thought that was a cool little thing. Just to add another character in, like tiny little cameo, like he's in his hand. You might not see right off the bat. This is one of my favorite parts when I'm doing a picture like this or anything. I love doing the inking process because that's when everything gets like solidified. Like you can't go back, but you get to put in so much more like detail when you're doing the inking process, and I just love it. You get to do so much more in the inking process, because with pencil and everything you can always go back, but there's just something about like the inking process that is like you have to commit to it. And it's just I love every minute of the inking process. It's just so fun to me. The other thing, I wasn't planning on doing like color like I did Link. I was planning on doing it like Link, just doing like the black and white, but my wife always pushes for me to do color pictures because she loves the way that comes out, and I'm always like loving like black and white and like the gray scale, and just
doing it like that along the lines of like Sin City and stuff like that. I just love black and white, but she ended up choosing the right way to go, because as you see, like later on, I start adding the color and it just makes the image pop so much more in this video. And I gotta thank her for pushing me in that direction. I don't know which one I like more, but I think I think I'm leaning more towards Jake. I love the character designs of both of them here, but just the way Jake's pose is and everything like that, and the way he's positioned right next to Finn, it's like he has his back and just ready for the fight. And here I am adding the little skull. Like I said before, like he's standing over the his last kill. I just thought that was a good aspect that I added to it. Just adding in a little bit more of the stonework on the bottom. Like his hind legs are up higher a little bit, and then this is just adding to like the idea that I had with the skull, just pieces of his last kill. So you have like the spinal column and the broken ribs just tossed off to the side. I originally was toying with the idea of putting the Ice King in the background, like he's looming over the heroes, but ended up deciding against it because I had asked opinions from my wife and just decided against it. Maybe in a future video I'll go back to Adventure Time and maybe do the Ice King, or maybe some other characters from the show. I was actually toying with the idea of doing the villain from the Legend of Zelda series, Ganondorf, just to have like that aspect of having a villain to go with the previous video or redesign of Link that we did. I just keep playing with that in my head, but maybe in another video. Maybe comment below if you guys want to do that, or just like any other character that you would like to see. Just go ahead and comment below. Maybe it'll end up in one of our future videos that we do here. Now, this is when the pelt comes together. I didn't know how I was going to do like the face. I didn't know if I was just gonna leave it blank and just have the fur draped over the top, but I ended up doing like kind of having like from the top jaw back was actually like cut off, and then he has the fur just draped over, and I had one arm extending down. Like when he skinned the animal, he had left the one arm just to drape over his shoulder, or maybe like to tie it down, maybe to stay on him during like heavy weather or something like that. And I wanted to make his hair showing a little bit through to make it look a little bit more dynamic, like, because in the show he has his hair hidden most of the time. But I thought that was another element that I really liked. There's I wanted to keep his backpack. So we have his backpack, and then we have his traditional like blue shirt, but I wanted to have that shredded, like if it got caught on something, or when he was in battle with somebody else, maybe the Ice King, and it just got torn. Inking up the muscle, adding the shorts. I ended up going with the blue shorts like he has in the show, but I made it more like kind of like denim, but the bottom of each leg was frayed like really badly. Like he either ripped them off, or just like over time they got shredded, and he just like tore the remainder off, adding the little bit more dimension to the fur, adding the eyes in, a little bit more detail in the ears. Ended up adding like the vein on his bicep, on his forearm. And I did like the same thing for the other side too, but like I said, drawing the denim shorts with it all frayed, like it's falling apart. I didn't want the shoulder on the shoulder pad, or the skull on his left shoulder to be just floating there, so I ended up adding those like the rope to make it actually look like it's tied down to his shoulder that goes across his chest and wraps around to the back. Make it actual, like functional, like it's not just floating there for a design. And adding more damage to him, a little more rips, and like the creases in the denim shorts. End up adding his shoes. And finishing off the rocks on the bottom. While doing like the ground underneath his feet and everything like that, it kind of looked like a ruined battlefield after I was done. And here I am, I'm starting the coloring process. I like to start with the lightest color and work my way up to the darkest, so that way you can get the layers, and it just creates all the different dimensions of like the shading and everything like that. But for right now, I'm going to let you guys watch the rest of the video, and I'll check back at the end to see how it comes out. while editing, I lost the very end of the coloring process. But I had to show these little transitions. But here's the final product, and let me know what you think in the comments.